Hey guys, welcome back. So this chart is an excerpt from a briefing that Bill Ackman's hedge fund, Pershing Square Capital Management, did in May 2007 as they predicted a lot of the factors that would contribute to the Great Recession. This is slide 7 from that briefing, if you guys look it up and you want to find it, but this is showing the home price index as it broke 15%. You can see in the upper right there, broke 15% above the 30-year trend line in the 2006 time frame. Now, we know what happened about a year and a half later with the housing market crash and the stock market crash and all that just kind of, tumbled downward for years on end. I mean, the housing market didn't really recover until 2012. But what's so interesting about this chart, guys, that caught my attention is if you look at those gray bands in the early 90s and early 80s, is that every time that home price index broke above trend line, we ended up with a housing market recession. Right now, from the 2020 to 2022 period, if you go to the St. Louis Fed website and look up home price index data, in that 2-year period, you see how steep that upturn was in the mid-2000s? It's even steeper. It breaks above trend line to an even greater degree from 2020 to 2022. Now, I don't need to be the one to tell you guys that housing prices took off post-pandemic. Everybody knows that. What I think might be slightly more debatable, or seem to be debatable, is whether it's going to cause a housing market recession or not at some point, or the larger recipe of factors is going to cause a housing market recession. I think that looking at this chart pretty much ends the debate, and we can now say, look, every time we've broken above that trend line and experienced the joys of high home prices and values if we own them, we have that coming back down to earth moment or moments as it stretches out over years, where we have to correct the imbalance and the market has to return to equilibrium. I think when you look at that 2020 to 2022 data, it is far more dramatic than the data you see right there from the mid-2000s that ultimately led to the '08 recession. So I think this is going to be an even more severe, more sharp pullback. I think it's all but guaranteed that we're going to get that housing market recession, even if the housing market itself doesn't seem to show that kind of weakness. I think the larger economic factors that come together that create a massive recessionary effect will pull down the housing market with it. That's just my non-expert opinion, just looking at this chart, looking at some of the data on my own and stuff like that. So would love to hear what you guys think about this chart, the housing market. If you take a look at the St. Louis Fed website, take a look at 2020 to 2022. Would love to hear your guys' comments and thoughts about that.